saying that this is a method that they use, but like I did find that interesting that like not only could there be physical evidence of like they have to like look at them and gauge them and stuff like that, right? Okay, so on to the next slide, please. Okay, so again, this I thought this look that's sort of like in the middle somewhere I thought was really interesting, and this was pretty much what I had seen on some of the people's faces. It was somewhere between 3 and 4, right?
You know who that kind of reminds me of?
Who's that?
Sylvester Stallone.
A little bit, yeah.
Not saying anything against Sylvester Stallone. It's just when I looked at that,
Stallone
I was
is
like,
a very like
his
unique person.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
he knows he has like droopy eyes,
Right.
right? I mean, he already knows that. Like he talks about.
Okay,
it a
so
lot.
next slide. So I thought, well, if this is true, then we would find this in a bunch of serial killers throughout history, right? Mm-hmm. So I went through serial killers and different people.
This is the photo.
You can do
That's
some
nuts.
image searches for Sanpaku eyes, and it comes up with is actually rather shocking. So in this first slide, you can see Adolf Hitler has this condition. Serial killer Ted Bundy has this condition. Ian Brady and Myra Hidley, I guess that's how you pronounce their names, both had this condition. These two were child killers, right? O.J. Simpson, I forgot to change this from convicted killer. I'm wrong there, guys. I'm sorry. It's not. He wasn't convicted.
He wasn't convicted.
He was accused of killing. I was supposed to change that. I'm sorry. I actually was typing these out quick while I was making this presentation, so excuse me there. Jeffrey Dahmer had this condition. Saddam Hussein, who is a dictator, he had this disposition. Karla Homolka, who like basically was put in jail for I guess she helped sexually assault and murder people.
Yeah, I actually don't know about her.
Yeah, I know. I had to read a little bit about her because she has it so seriously here, like the way that look, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to note that just because someone has this doesn't mean that they're this way or anything. It's just that this is just something.
It's data
to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things too is I didn't just look at one image of each of these people. I looked at several of them first and realized that it was like almost a thread through each of the images before I put them in here. And I picked the kind of the more serious cases. Okay, so if you go to the next slide, please. All right, so now we have Charles Manson. Now, Charles Manson's version of this actually goes above the eyes. And you might think, well, he's actually purposely opening his eyes like that. But actually, he's like that. I noticed multiple images where it's this like insane look on his face, you know?
Yeah.
I was really surprised to find that Salvador Dali has this.
I'm not that surprised by Salvador Dali.
Well, but you don't normally think of artists, right?
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's crazy there.
I agree.
I know a lot of him. He's completely deep state shill there, you know?
Oh, he was at a lot of Illuminati balls,
completely.
that's for
I mean, he
sure.
is like, he was the essence of what the Illuminati was back in the, 70s, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, completely.
So this one, John Wayne Gacy, who is a child rapist and killer, he was the clown killer, right? Everybody knows about this guy. I mean, he had this condition. You can see the whites underneath the eyes. Okay, now this guy I didn't even know about, Ed Gein. Now, Ed Gein was a murderer and an exhumer. So he would actually, he was in charge of the cemetery or something, and he would exhume bodies, and he would like start making trophies out of their like, weird stuff, and then he ended up killing 2 people too. This is very interesting too, is that Jimmy Savile.
Who is that guy? I mean,
he was the BBC host guy who got accused of all that pedophilia and stuff, right?
Yeah,
and they covered
insane.
like they're said to have covered it up, right? All of this stuff. Another one that was like the most serious recent case was this Peter Strzok guy. He was the FBI agent.
Dude, he's insane. If you guys, I mean, I'm sure everyone, like anyone who follows Q knows who he is.
Right.
But with Paige, I forget her first name now.
Did you see the gifs out of Peter Strzok or like the different clips of him in that video where he's like, it's really freaking scary, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's like the main person who was in charge of getting the dossier on Trump. So it's like that's super weird.
And then I wasn't surprised that I actually found the same thing in a lot of the singers. Like a lot of singers who are out there right now that are in the mainstream have this issue, including Lady Gaga. So this actually really surprised me. And the craziest part is the next slide. You guys are not going to believe this. Tell me when that slide is up.
Yeah.
Up. So you guys, then all of a sudden I see this And the eye is exactly like that. This is not a normal eye, and it's on the back, it's on the dollar bill. It's the eye of Providence that is atop the pyramid in all of the Illuminati symbolism. And I was literally floored when I'm going down this rabbit hole and I'm already shocked, but then seeing this was like the kicker for me. It was almost like they knew. And if you can look on some of those, I didn't put any of their images in here, but if you go on to Google and do image searches of people in the top families, okay, that we're aware of who are in those top families,
yeah, almost
this
all of them
condition is
did.
extremely apparent in them.
Yeah.
That shocked me almost more than anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And Adam Schiff, someone else was commenting on Adam Schiff. Like, he was another one that had it too.
So you guys, anyway, I'm sorry we had to show all of those serial killer images, but we're trying to.
Did you do the Hillary one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, I thought you were gonna add that one.
I wanted to keep politics as much as possible out of this.
Hillary's not politics anyway.
So you guys, actually,
dude, just look up Hillary Clinton wide eyes.
Do Sanpaku eyes Hillary Clinton, and you can judge for yourself. Hers come over her eyes, and there's a lot of these.
She's like the final. Oh man. Anyway, this is a really funny photo of her for sure. That is really, really funny.
Okay, well, anyway, thanks for helping us out with that, Derek. So you guys, that was one of the presentations I want to show. Now, the reason why I brought this up is because I'm trying to, partly, there are people out there right now that are saying things about us who have this condition. Now, I'm not saying they're 100% nuts or whatever. That's not for me to judge. But I also want to arm you guys with different ways of thinking about these things and looking at them. And that doesn't mean you judge someone completely from that. You have to listen to what they say. But if they are being, deceitful and all of these things, and then they have something like that going on, maybe it's an indicator of something. And I mean, as we've seen here, right, this is a little bit weird that all of these people, almost every single serial killer, I found others. I found paintings of Elizabeth Bathory that had this issue. I found multiple paintings of different serial killers throughout history who were painted and they had this issue. Wow. It was shocking. I only showed you like a small amount of this, but like this issue, this isn't just a small amount of people. And why is no one talking about this? Right. Why is Sanpaku eyes?
Yeah, I never even heard of it until you.
John Lennon had Sanpaku in one of his songs. It was like a lyric in one of his songs.
Oh, it was.
Yes. People know about this. It's at the back of the freaking dollar bill.
And again, like you were saying, this is like what hypnotherapists use to judge before.
They don't necessarily, right? Okay. So it's not that this is one of them. It's just what I do know is that hypnotherapists have to figure out whether or not someone is a sociopath or psychotic before, right? There are a lot of different ways to figure out whether or not someone is a sociopath. I thought they used this method, but this isn't actually it could be a peripheral point, right? But it's basically what I'm trying to say is they do have to find out whether or not someone is first, which is like the most serious thing, right?